My buddy's first D&D character was a wizard, and he spent many an early session completely confused. I have this many spells, this many slots, and this many prepared spells. I can't cast third level spells at level 3. Next thing you know, he's got Fireball and everybody's dead. Hey there, adventurers. I'm Judd, and this is Short Rest Studios, where we believe that fun builds community. A lot of you enjoy D&D's magic, but new players often struggle with it, and veterans know it's confusing and inconsistent, and it's underpowered until suddenly it's overpowered. Here are 5 games whose magic is more consistent, more intuitive, often more unpredictable, and loads more fun than D&D's. I've got to give an honorable mention to SHADOWDARK, one of my favorite RPGs. Spells are always roll to cast. You roll 1d20, wizards add their intelligence modifier, and priests add their wisdom. The DC is always 10 plus the spell's tier, basically the equivalent of a spell level in D&D. If you meet or exceed the DC, you succeed in casting the spell. If not, you fail and can't cast it again until you take a rest. If you fail with a nat 1 as a priest, you have to do penance. But if a wizard crit fails a spell, you could take damage or hit an ally or tear a hole in the fabric of the universe. SHADOWDARK's magic beats D&D's for its elegant simplicity and consistency. Spoiler alert, SHADOWDARK only gets honorable mention because another system that's at the top of this list does similar things, but to much greater effect. At number 5, we have BORG. MÖRK, I have trouble with this one, guys. BORG. In the post-apocalyptic fantasy world of BORG, the few so-called powers, that's magic, are usually written on scrolls. There are sacred scrolls like Grace of a Dead Saint for healing or Hermetic Step to find traps. You've also got unclean scrolls like the aptly named Telekinesis and Death. You roll Presence, that's your character's ability to perceive, aim, charm, or wield powers, plus a d4 every morning to determine how many times you can use powers that day. When reading a scroll, aka casting a spell, you roll a d20 and add your presence score. If you get a 12 or higher, that's BORG's standard difficulty rating, the power succeeds. A failure means the power doesn't work and you lose d2 hit points and become dizzy for the next hour. The GM decides what kind of effect results if you roll a crit or a fumble, but also if you try to use another scroll while you're feeling the effects of a failure, your powers will always fail, as the rulebook says, in the worst possible way. The GM decides those effects too, but there's also an optional table of arcane catastrophes. In my opinion, BORG beats D&D here precisely because where magic in D&D gets overpowered and almost can't miss, this magic is limited and dangerous, making it more challenging and more fun. Plus, anyone can use powers in BORG. If you enjoyed this video today, would you do me a favor? Hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and check out the membership levels in the Adventurers Guild on Patreon. Number 4 on our list is Trail of the Behemoth. This is a lesser known indie game where your players are monster hunters, and the monsters are so huge that they're the battle maps. In Trail of the Behemoth, magic is mysterious. Spells are seen as living entities that nest in a mortal's mind before they're shooed away, departing in a burst of magic. That's a quote from the book. If a hunter gains a spell, the Huntmaster, that's the GM, gives them the spell's name, and that's it. You can get an idea what the spells do by their names. For instance, Tornado seems fairly obvious. Swarm of Bears really isn't. And I'm not gonna give it away, but the hunter has no idea what the spell does until they cast it. Only the GM knows. When they cast the spell, the Huntmaster tells them what they can do with it, and each spell can only be cast once. I think unpredictability with magic just cranks up the fun level in an RPG, and on top of being a simple, straightforward game with a really cool premise, Trail of the Behemoth's magic system excels at unpredictability, something that D&D isn't really concerned with. Hey, if you think Swarm of Bears sounds like a good time, hit that like button like it owes you gold. Next up is Ars Magica. Let me start by saying that Ars Magica is definitely the most complex magic system on this list. In fact, it's so detailed, I really don't have time in this video to get into the mechanics like I will with the other systems. But if you wish D&D's magic system had more depth and customization, this is definitely one you should check out. Ars Magica is set in a version of medieval Europe where powerful hermetic magic exists, and only certain people bear the responsibility of the gift, which gives them the ability to use this magic. The hermetic arts are divided into techniques and forms, and casting a spell involves using Latin terms. It reminds me a bit of the Magic in the Rivers of London book series, and these are combined via dice rolls to cast a variety of spells. There are flexible but not very strong spontaneous spells, memorized spells, and powerful but resource-intensive rituals. The mechanics of magic in Ars Magica are all about creativity and strategy. There's a system for wizard duels. There are magical secrets specific to certain hermetic houses. For example, one house gets a unique shape-shifting ability called the Heart Beast, and another gets alternate spell options that are inspired by folklore. The thing that really sets Ars Magica apart, aside from a really fascinating setting, is the depth of freedom and creativity this magic system offers, and that's where it beats D&D. Polyhedrals, math rocks, click-clacks, random number generators, fate nuggets. Adventurers, you and I know that role-playing games are more than just a hobby, and dice are life. Misty Mountain Gaming has a wider selection of luck bricks than you can imagine: acrylic, metal, liquid core, gemstone, but they also have everything you could need for your TTRPG lifestyle. Gorgeous leather bags, dice trays and towers, initiative trackers, even Dragon's Hoard, a monthly subscription box. Head to mistymountaingaming.com and use the code SHORTREST at checkout to get 10% off your order. And it helps out the channel too. Now, for number 2, we're going to the absolute other end of the spectrum with Skate Wizards. What can I say about Skate Wizards? This is one of the silliest, craziest RPGs ever. Everything about it is wacky and insane. The 44-page PDF includes about 20 pages of rules and 4 mini dungeons, and the magic system is, just for sheer zany fun, this might be my favorite magic system on the list. And believe me, your life will never be complete until you watch the music video, which I will link to in the description. Each PC is a member of the Hermetic Order of Skate Wizards, literally a wizard in a fantasy world who draws their power from their knowledge of the mystical skateboarding arts and their symbiotic relationship with their board. You have 3 spells you can cast at any time that basically manifest objects: a ramp, a sidewalk, or a rail that appears below your skateboard. Then, and this is my favorite part, starting characters get 1 rando spell a day. What is a rando spell, you ask? Well, you roll a d12 on each of 4 columns, left to right, on the rando spell table. That gives you 4 words that form the name of your spell. For instance, sketchy summoning earth mattress. Yeah, you heard me. Then you and your GM decide what the spell does when you cast it. And if that's not bonkers enough for you, you also have bootleg spells. Every day you can prepare 1 spell from, as the book says, a sweet and arcane collection of 6 skate vids with a Z that work kind of like spell scrolls. It includes spells like Gleam the Cube, which allows you to skate on walls and ceilings, and High Times, which turns your skateboard into a cloud you can ride up to 2 stories above the ground. After you cast your bootleg spell, you roll a d6 to determine if the videotape is busted or not. I would like to sincerely apologize to the skater community. I assure you that while my use of skater slang gives straight up mall grab vibes, I was only reading what was in the zine. Any offense was entirely unintentional. Magic in Skate Wizards is pretty much the opposite of the D&D system. It's thematic, simple, unpredictable, and completely ridiculous. I love it so much more than D&D. And finally, number 1 on our list of magic systems is Dungeon Crawl Classics. I've made no secret of the fact that Dungeon Crawl Classics is probably my favorite tabletop role-playing game, and the magic system is a big part of it. Magic in DCC is unpredictable and dangerous. To cast a spell, you roll a spell check, a d20 plus modifiers, and you consult a spell effect table because while a fireball is a fireball, it can look different every time you cast it. The higher you roll, the more powerful the spell. And there are no spell slots in DCC. A wizard can keep casting spells as long as they're rolling well, but a low roll means they lose that spell for the rest of the day. Plus, if they fail their spell check badly enough, they're corrupted by the mercurial power they've unleashed. Cleric's magic is a little different, but they still roll spell checks, but because they're channeling their god's power, they don't lose the spells the way a wizard does. Instead, they risk the disapproval of their god, meaning every time they fail a spell check, it becomes harder to cast a spell successfully. And those are just the basic mechanics mechanics of Magic and DCC. The fun of the game is in the crazy, unpredictable, swinging action. You get that no matter what kind of character you're playing, but the life of a caster is especially chaotic. Casting Lightning Bolt, for example, you could hit or miss your target, or you could hit 8 targets 1,000 feet away. You could also zap one of your friends or scramble your brain so much that it affects your ability scores. DCC's magic system is probably the most similar to 5e's on this list, but it beats 5e because of this insane unpredictability. To my mind, it ratchets up the fun to levels that you just can't get with D&D. These are some of my favorite Magic systems. I would love to know what yours are, so drop them in the comments. If you'd like to support this channel, check out the membership levels in the Adventurers Guild on Patreon. You can also check out my brand new Adventure Seed, Beneath the Black Spire, at the link in the description. There are tons of great fantasy tabletop role-playing games with cooler mechanics than D&D 5e, and this video is about 10 of them. Check it out, and I'll see you next time on Short Rest Studios.